Hi there and welcome to lesson 37. In today's lesson we will be drawing a CNC machine. CNC stands for Computer Numerical Control. CNC machines manufactures objects created in a 3D program. And the CNC machine works on the principle that it has a surface. Connected to this surface there are arms going one direction and another arm in that direction. On top of that, those arms, there's another, let's call it a bridge, and connected on this bridge there is a rotor or almost like a drill bit that goes down. So, and how it works is this arm goes into this and this direction. On this bridge, the motor sits on a let's call it a train that's being carried left and right, and connected to this motor or drill bit there's another motor that pushes this motor down. So just to make it clear, so this bridge goes up and down, back and forth basically. On the bridge itself the motor is being pulled left and right, and connected to this cart or train is another device or mechanism that pushes the drill bit or the cutting bit down into the material. So say for instance we have a board. Let's imagine that we've got a wood board on the surface there, and we want to cut out let's say the letter C out of that wood board. We create an image in a drawing program like a vector program, like for instance Inkscape. We feed that into the computer, which programs the CNC machine so that motor, the bridge, takes the motor to the starting point. So let's imagine that's the starting point. The bridge takes it right over that starting point. The train on that bridge, and I'm using the wrong terminology, but let's simplify it for our purpose. The train on that bridge takes the rotor right up on top of the starting point, so that motor is going to go down into the material or right over the material. So the bridge moved this way, and then the mechanism on the rail itself here pushes the motor down into the material while the drill bit is spinning thousands of revolutions per minute. And for each point on that C, the machine needs to calculate where this bridge needs to be, where the train of the motor must be, and how deep it must cut. So you can cut complex material or very simple stuff. You can even just use it to drill holes into a board. So it's a fascinating device and worth drawing. So let's get started. I'm going to use my cube and draw a base for the base plate of my CNC machine. Let's scale it up. Let's imagine that my CNC machine is about that size. I'm going to create a square CNC machine. So the base is going to be, the surface area is going to be square. So let's use that. And let's call that rough. So this is going to be my rough drawing. I'm going to use my usual grayish blue color. Let's see, I have a full layer here as well. I'm just going to make that the opacity to about 50. And back on my rough drawing, I'm going to use my usual ink 4-pin rough. That's a very nice pen to use. And this needn't be perfect. We just need to rough it out. So we want to have the basis or the beginnings of our CNC machine. So, and this is where our material will be placed on or fastened to, so that we can cut whatever we desire out of our wood. Then we need the rails on the side, and usually these are made out of aluminium extrusions. So let's imagine that it is connected to our base plate. So this is extended from the base plate out towards about there. Okay, again, just roughing it out. It doesn't need to be perfect. We can make it perfect when we do our need drawing. Okay. Right. We could have this. We can have a cutout like that, so that we use less material for creating the base plate or the extensions from that base plate. Right, on top of this we need a rail, and attached to this rail we need ends that, so let's do this. We've got a bit, so this is going to be the attachment for the rail, and this attaches to this extension we have in the bed. Something like that. And then we have our rails, or the frame for the rails going this way. But I'm just going to make a selection of that. Copy that, paste it, and duplicate it over. So this is going to be the same, and we can do, we'll get to the other side, but we can basically draw just this and then duplicate it over to the other side. Right, and then we have the framework to make this rail strong. And then on the inside we will have that screw-like feature. I need to look up the terminology for all of this. We will have that screw-like feature that I'll explain now. Okay, so this is going to be a screw-like, this is going to be a screw type of device that has motors in the bridge, and the motors turn a, let's call it a bolt, and the bolt moves the bridge along this axis. So this helps to move the bridge all along on this axis. Right, so let's copy that and move it over. And remember, we need to extend the bed as well. Then we need the bridge that carries the whole motor device. And we can use the same, because it's the same thing basically. So let's make a selection of this. So we need to duplicate that. Control T and flip it horizontally. So that it sits on a device or the motors for that section. So let's duplicate that or move that. Let's do it this way. So we need to create that motor that goes over the screw device. Something like that. Inside this box is going to be a motor, and this motor is going to turn a screw. So there's another screw or bolt like feature inside, and as it sits on this static screw, the motor turns, and as the motor turns, it moves this breech from the one direction to the other. So it moves this breech up and down or back and forth. I'm going to delete that, make a selection of that, copy it and paste it. And we want to make sure that it is in line. So let's move this to there. What I'm looking, I'm making sure that the screw, the hole, is over my screw and in line with that square. And then we want to move this so that it's on the screw and in line with that square. So, right. Okay, then I merge this together and we can finish this. So again, just rough, don't worry about it being too perfect. Okay, and then the supports for the rail. Right, so this screw, I think we need another screw at the bottom as well, so we'll get to that. So this, to make this as sturdy as possible, there would be another screw at the bottom, so that when this rail moves along, it moves along on two support beams basically. Added to that, we will have two motors or two screw devices that will be sitting underneath this, on top of that screw as well. So we need to bring that down, and we need to remember to add another screw at the bottom. Right, so yeah, let's do that. So there will be another screw in here. We might need to move things up a little bit. So boom, 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 boom. Okay, and the same goes for this here. Another screw in here. So we'll clean this up. Well, this is just roughing it out. Right, so that, and then we will need to, so let's put this to the side. We will need another set of this, so I'm going to make a selection of that. All of this will become clear. Just want to make sure this is in line. This is not in line. So let's make sure that this is in line. See, it needs to be in line with that. That's more like it. Right, and then let's make a selection of this, copy it, paste it. This time we're going to rotate it on the horizontally like that, bring it up, and we are just going to tweak that a little bit. So this is going in this direction now. So the motors move that in the left and right direction. And these motors move this whole thing into the back and forth direction. Right, let's keep that separate for the moment. Right, let's erase the top part because we need to change things here. On top of this sits another motor, so let's extend this a little bit. On top of this is another motor, and this motor controls the depth of the rotating device. So we have, let's extend this. So it goes there, and then at the bottom this will also be extended forward. Right. Right. There, all right, so we have another motor that sits here. Oh, it's rough, but yeah, don't worry about being rough. As long as you understand the principles, cleaning it up will make sense. And because this sits forward, it's going to be in front of this breech area. So the screw needs to go down in here. Right. So there's a screw that runs in this motor. This motor just turns the screw, and on top of this, right, let's do another 2 sets of rods here, and this keeps the up and down motion steady. Okay, let's change the color slightly so that this is getting messed up. Right, so let's put it there. So, and let's create a new layer, and on this layer we will create the drill bit area, or the cutting bit motor and whatever goes with that. So there's a box that goes over these rods and the rotating screw, so this is going to slide up and down like that. The rod, the screw rod, is going to be in the center, and in the center is another bolt-like structure with threads in. On the sides there's the rod holes which keep this whole thing stable as it moves up and down on the rails. Attached to this is another section. So, like so. And we can make this round, so I'm going to make it a little further to the front, and then just cut the corners like so. Inserted in this is going to be our motor or drill or rotator for the bits that's going to do the cutting. We can see a bit of that coming out, and then an extension, and inserted into this is going to be the collet, or the area where you fasten your drill bit or screw or needle, whatever you need. So this is going to slide up and down here. This is going to sit there and slide up and down like that. And this whole thing is going to sit on the bed and move backwards and forwards. Right, you can see how this all is coming together now. So I think in the next step, we are just going to focus on cleaning up this, making it neat and pretty. And I'm sure you will understand what I do in the next step. So roughing it out is basically the hardest part of developing your machine. And I suggest you keep all of the parts separate so that you can easily use and reuse some of these parts in your creation of the CNC machine. So I'm gonna keep quiet now and draw all of this, and I'll see you on the other side of the drawing. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson and that you've learned something. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.